Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. I almost dropped the test in the sink when the second line appears. My name is Emily, I'm 29 and pregnant again. Mark rattles the bathroom doorknob like he always does on rushed mornings. You almost done in there? His voice comes through the cheap door and my throat locks around nothing. I stare at that faint line like maybe it will fade. It does not fade and the minutes on my phone crawl past. I know exactly what it means and I still whisper nope under my breath. On the other side of the door, Mark knocks again, sharper this time. If I unlock that door, my life shifts one more notch and I know it. I grab a wad of tissue and wrap the test until it disappears. My hands shake so much the edges tear and I curse out loud. I shove everything deep in the trash, like distance can change reality. Then I turn the lock and pull the door open a crack. Mark leans in with that easy grin and I already feel pinned by it. He pushes the door wider with his shoulder and steps past me. His eyes sweep the counter and he pauses before reaching toward the trash can. You okay? He looks at my face, not my body yet. I answer, yeah, all good, and my voice cracks through the lie. He pulls the tissue out and peels it back until the lines show. That slow smile spreads over his face and it makes my stomach roll hard. Well, look at that, he says and lifts the test like a prize. He taps the plastic once with his thumb as if he turned on a light. I should smile back, but my hands just hang at my sides. I manage to say one word and it sounds small even to me. Again, I whisper, hoping he has not noticed the pattern. He frowns a little and asks what I mean, like he does not hear my heartbeat slamming. I can't do this again, Mark. The words scrape their way out of me and hang there. He pulls me into his chest and talks into my hair. We are okay and we have room and we manage just fine. Another baby is a gift and he says it like a fact. His heartbeat feels steady against my face while mine stutters like it missed the memo. I nod against him while every part of me silently screams not again. When I pull back, I ask the question that has been hiding in my mouth for months. What if we just stop rolling the dice here and you get snipped? The word snipped sounds harsher out loud than in my head and he winces. He laughs right after in this short, tight way like he has to prove he is fine. Nobody is touching me down there, he says and flicks the test with one finger. He sets the test on the counter between us like a tiny flag. It's your body that does the pregnancy thing, Em, you are the one in charge. You always told me your body, your choice, so I respect that. So you decide what goes in it and what happens if it does. The way he says decide feels like a door closing and the key thrown away. In the moment I swallow the argument and stare at my feet. I tell myself he is nervous and joking weird because the word surgery freaks him out. Writing this now, I know he meant every single word and loved how neat it sounded. Back then I just nodded and shoved the test back in tissue and pretended I was glad. The truth is I heard him say your body and all I could think was my problem. The nurse calls my name and my stomach flips hard. I push myself out of the chair and my knees wobble. Mark stands slower behind me, still scrolling on his phone. I walk toward the open doorway and every step feels loud. I already know I am more nervous than he is willing to admit. He slips the phone into his pocket and taps my lower back. Big day, he murmurs like we are at some casual event. I force a small laugh that sounds wrong even to my own ears. If you were watching us, you would think we were excited. Inside, I just count how many ways this could get worse. The nurse leads us down the hall and into an exam room. She rattles off something about the doctor running a bit behind. I nod too fast and sit on the table and the paper shrieks under me. Mark chooses the corner chair and spreads out like he owns space. He starts talking about lunch plans while I stare at my hands. You look pale. He leans forward and studies my face like I am overreacting. We have done this before, you know how it goes. I focus on breathing because that sentence hits a raw place. That is exactly what scares me, the fact that we have done this. The door opens and the doctor walks in with a quick smile. She shakes my hand, then his, and glances at the chart. Congratulations, she says like this was a wish I made on purpose. The word hits me like a joke that does not land. I smile anyway because that is what you do in rooms like this. She asks how I have been feeling and looks straight at me. Tired, I answer, then add a little overwhelmed before I can stop myself. Her eyebrows lift just a fraction and she notes something down. Was this pregnancy planned? The air tightens and I feel Mark watching both of us. He jumps in. Before I can make my mouth move. We talked about more kids, he says, sounding very relaxed. Timing surprised us a little, but we are happy. He reaches for my knee and gives it a squeeze like we match. I nod because contradicting him here feels like stepping off a cliff. The doctor looks between us for a second too long. If you are feeling overwhelmed, we can talk about support, she offers. Her voice softens a bit and she keeps her eyes on my face. I shrug and say it is just the shock and that I will adjust. Even while I say it, I know I am covering the actual problem. She runs through the standard exam and checks dates and numbers. I answer when prompted and keep my tone light and polite. My brain is somewhere else, circling the same thought. I do not want to be back here again after this one. I finally drag in a breath and hear myself speak up. Can we talk about making this the last pregnancy? The words spill out faster than I intended and hang there. The doctor pauses, then nods once and sets the chart aside. Of course, she replies, and just that calm response makes my chest ache. Mark shifts in his chair like he suddenly remembered a meeting. The doctor explains there are different long-term options available. She mentions procedures for me and then a simple surgery for the partner. When she says the word vasectomy, Mark actually laughs out loud. He raises both hands like she just suggested chopping off a limb. Yeah, that is not happening, he blurts and looks almost proud. Her eyes flick to him and then back to me. It is a quick outpatient procedure, lower risk than tubal ligation, she says. It can be a good choice when the family feels complete. She phrases it like teamwork, not like body versus body. I feel heat crawl up my neck because this does not feel like a team. Mark leans back and crosses his arms over his chest. I am not getting surgery for something she can control herself, he replies. He gives a short laugh and adds, her body, her call, right? He tosses that line out like it proves he is enlightened. My stomach turns because somehow that sentence dumps everything on me. The doctor waits and the silence stretches until I want to run. I just mean I do not want anyone cutting on me, Mark adds. He gestures toward me with his chin, not even looking directly. If she wants something done, that is up to her. That little twist of the phrase lands sharp and I know it. Writing this now, I can see her expression shift in that moment. Back then, I only caught a flicker of something like concern. She looks at me for a long second like she is offering a lifeline. There are permanent options for you as well, she continues carefully. Though they involve anesthesia and a longer recovery than his would. I laugh, this weird shaky sound that does not feel like mine. So either I stay the baby machine or I take the harder hit. The words come out harsher than I intend and I instantly regret them. Mark snorts quietly and mutters that I am being dramatic again. The doctor does not laugh and that actually scares me more. She explains a procedure where my tubes get closed off. She outlines risks, recovery time, and the fact it is not simple. Each detail piles on my shoulders and I feel myself shrinking. Mark does not ask a single follow-up question about any of it. He just checks his phone again like this is a boring commercial break. If you both are unsure, you do not have to decide today, she adds. We can revisit it later in the pregnancy or after delivery. That word later floats there like a safe exit sign. I grab it because I am exhausted and backed into a corner. Yeah, maybe after, I mutter, even though after sounds like a trap. On the drive monologue, no, still in room. The doctor wraps up the visit and prints some information sheets. She hands them to me, not to him, and our eyes meet briefly. If you have questions on your own, you can always schedule a follow-up, she says. There is a small weight on the word own that I only recognize now. Back then, I just nodded and slid the papers into my bag fast. When she leaves the room, the tension explodes into loud silence. Mark stands and stretches like he just sat through a long movie. You really threw me under the bus with that vasectomy thing, he says. He smiles, but his jaw twitches in a way I know too well. I feel my chest tighten because I know a longer argument is waiting. I am the one throwing you, I ask, a little stunned. I grip the edge of the table so I do not shake. You will not even consider it, yet you are fine with them operating on me. He rolls his eyes like I am asking for something outrageous. It is your reproductive system, he replies flatly, and that word sticks. We leave the room and walk down the hallway without touching. He starts talking about where to pick up lunch like nothing happened. I answer in short words and keep my gaze straight ahead. Every step feels like I am moving deeper into a plan I never agreed to. I did not realize then that this was the moment I should have stopped everything. I yank the pill pack out of the bathroom drawer with one quick move. The sound is louder than it should be, like I just pulled a fire alarm. From the hallway, Mark calls out, asking if I have seen his keys. I shove the pack into my bag and answer that I have not checked. That is the first time I hide my birth control from him on purpose. I zip the bag and loop the strap over my shoulder. By the time I step into the hall, my face feels arranged. He glances up and looks me over like he is checking a list. "Did you remember your pill today?" The question sounds casual, but I feel my skin crawl. "Yeah, I took it earlier." I keep walking so he has to follow me toward the door. He reaches for my waist and pulls me close for a second. "You can be forgetful," he murmurs into my hair. That line lands heavy like he has been rehearsing it. On the way out, he pauses beside the kitchen trash can. For no reason, he lifts the lid and peeks inside. My pulse jumps because I picture foil in little plastic packs. There is nothing there because I checked, but I hold my breath anyway. That is when I realize he has been paying more attention than I knew. A few nights later, he drops onto the bed beside me with a sigh. "Where is your pill pack now?" He rolls onto his side and traces patterns on my stomach. "In my purse," I answer, pretending I do not hear the edge. He laughs low and calls me paranoid for dragging it everywhere. He reaches across me toward the nightstand drawer. The movement is so smooth I almost miss the intention. "Good thing we still have backup if you forget again." He pulls the drawer open and pauses, fingers hovering over the spot. "Thought we had more than this," he mutters, brow furrowing. I look too and see one lone wrapper pushed to the side. A few weeks ago there had been more, I know that much. I remember the fresh box going in there, plastic still on it. My tongue feels thick as I ask when we use the rest. He shrugs and says we must have grabbed them during tired nights. Later, after he falls asleep, I slide out of bed carefully. I crouch beside the drawer and count what is actually there. One unopened wrapper, nothing else, no empty ones piled up. My heart bumps hard against my ribs as I stare at that single packet. Somebody used up a whole box and left no trace, apparently. The next day I stop by a pharmacy on my way home. I stand in front of the family planning aisle with my brain spinning. I grab another box and toss it into the basket with a quick movement. When the cashier scans it, I feel my cheeks heat like I am doing something dirty. In reality, I am scrambling for control that should already be shared. At home, I put the new box into the nightstand right in front. I leave it there on purpose, obvious, not tucked behind anything. I want to see what happens if it sits in plain sight. Part of me still hopes I am overthinking and looking for monsters. Another part already knows I am not. 2 days later, I am tossing a bag into the kitchen trash. Underneath the top layer, something bright and familiar catches my eye. I push the bag aside and see the cardboard from the box. The lid is ripped off and flattened, sitting there alone. No wrappers, no strip, just the empty packaging. My throat feels like it closes as I fish it back out. The top is torn open like someone did it quickly and did not care. I flip it around and check the lot number in small print. The expiration date is years away, nowhere near old. Behind me, I hear shoes coming down the hallway. "What are you doing in the trash?" Mark steps into the kitchen and wipes his hands on a towel. I straighten up, box in hand, staring at the missing contents. "You tossed these already." My voice comes out sharper than I planned. He glances at the cardboard and waves his hand like it is nothing. "They were expired. I checked the date earlier this week." He walks to the sink and turns on the water with steady motions. "You do not want to rely on old stuff like that." Everything he says sounds polished and way too prepared. I flipped the cardboard again and read the numbers out loud. "Not expired." My words cut through the running water and hang between us. He does not turn around, just shakes his head once. "Then maybe they were damaged, packaging looked off," he adds quickly. In that moment, something inside me drops, like an elevator cable snapped. He is not just refusing to protect himself, he is removing my safety net. I lean my hip against the counter because my legs feel weird. Did you throw them out before or after I bought them? I already know the answer, but I want to hear his version. He finally faces me, jaw tight, eyes a little too calm. Why are you grilling me over some stupid condoms? He takes a step closer, forcing me to tilt my head back. You already have birth control in your bag, remember? That last word hits like an accusation instead of reassurance. If you have ever felt reality tilt under your feet, you know this feeling. I start replaying each recent night in my mind on fast forward. The moments he reached for me when I was half asleep. The times he brushed off my concern with a joke and a kiss. I feel sick because the pattern has been there and I missed it. Later that evening, when he runs out to grab takeout, I move again. I pull out my phone and open the banking app with shaking fingers. I scroll through recent transactions until one makes my pulse jump. Pharmacy charge, same chain where I shop, a few days before mine. The timestamp lines up with the missing box almost perfectly. I tap the entry and study the total, doing math in my head. It matches the price of a box plus one small item. I picture him standing at that same aisle, making a quick decision. Buying his own supply, then making sure I never actually use it. Writing this now, that specific detail still makes my skin crawl. When he returns, I am sitting at the table with my phone face down. He drops the bag in front of me and asks what's wrong with my expression. Did you buy protection this week? I keep my tone even, almost casual, like we're chatting. He blinks once, then laughs in a way that makes my stomach twist. Why would I do that when we barely touch it? He nudges the bag toward me and tells me to eat before it gets cold. I study his face, searching for any crack, any sign of guilt. There is nothing, just that easy charm everyone else loves. I realize in that moment he is comfortable lying straight to my face. I pick up a fork, but my appetite is gone. I ask him if he remembers the doctor mentioning his easier option. Drop it, he mutters, taking a long drink and staring at the wall. We are already set, you have pills, we are good. The way he stresses that word "we" sounds like a locked door. That night I slide my bag under my pillow before turning off the light. My fingers brush the pill pack and I check the tiny tablet again. For the first time, I take it with the light from my phone screen. I do not trust anyone else with the timing anymore. I still do not realize just how long he has been playing his own game. I drop the crumpled receipt next to his bowl so hard it splashes. He pauses mid-bite, spoon hovering, eyes flicking to the paper. For a second, the only sound is him chewing way too slowly. I do not sit down, I stay standing across from him. My heart is doing that ugly fast drum and I let it. What's this? He smooths the receipt with two fingers like he needs time. His gaze runs down the list quick, then stops halfway. He does not read it out loud, which tells me enough. I watch his jaw tighten before he even answers. You went through the bank stuff again. He leans back on the stool and tries for casual. I point at the line with the pharmacy name and total. You bought protection last week. My voice comes out steady, which honestly surprises me. He shrugs once, shoulders loose, eyes not quite meeting mine. Yeah, I grabbed a box with the milk and bread. He says it like he is confessing to buying gum. Then I saw they were messed up, so I tossed them. He taps the side of his bowl like this is boring. My fingers curl around the chair back until they ache. Messed up how exactly? I keep each word separate so I do not start yelling. They were fine when I paid for them. His gaze slides away for just a second, which is enough. They were old or something, the date looked weird. He lifts the receipt again, squinting like that helps. You know stores do that, they leave old stock out. He gives me this half smile that used to charm me. Now it just feels like a mask stretched too tight. They expire next year. I pull the flattened box top from my hoodie pocket. I lay it beside the receipt like a piece of evidence. You ripped this open and threw everything away. My hands shake a little, but I do not move them. His face hardens, the fake relaxed look drops fast. You dug in the trash now, seriously. He laughs, but there is no humor in it at all. That is not healthy, this level of suspicion. He pushes the receipt back toward me like it burns. I take a breath that does nothing to calm me down. This is not about trash, this is my body on the line. I gesture toward the doorway where the kids usually appear. Every time you decide to roll the dice, it lands on me. Saying it out loud finally makes everything snap into place. He pushes his stool back with a scrape and stands up. You are blowing this way out of proportion again. His hands cut through the air while he talks faster. We barely even use those half the time you hate them. He throws that last bit at me like a trump card. I hate being terrified of another surprise pregnancy. The word DS come out sharp before I can smooth them. I walk around the island so there is no furniture between us. You teased me about forgetting pills, then removed the backup. Listing it like that makes me feel both furious and stupid. He folds his arms and stares down at me like I am a child. I am not the villain here despite how you are acting. His foot taps against the cabinet, impatient, almost restless. We always talked about a big family, remember that part? He leans on those old conversations like a contract I signed. I shake my head once slow because that actually hurts. We talked not like this, not you forcing the odds. My throat tightens but I keep pushing anyway. I never agreed to you deciding when I get pregnant again. That word deciding makes him flinch like I slapped him. I'm not forcing anything, biology does what it does. His voice drops low and intense like he is being reasonable. Sometimes things happen even when people try to prevent it. He spreads his hands like the universe is his co-parent. That does not make me some kind of monster. It does when you cut every safety net I put up. I jab a finger at the cardboard and the receipt between us. You joked about me forgetting my meds, then removed these. I can feel my pulse in my ears and it is not calming down. This is not an accident anymore, this is a choice. He takes a slow step closer, crowding my space on purpose. You are putting a really ugly label on your own husband. He lowers his head so our faces are a few inches apart. Do you hear yourself right now, how extreme that sounds? His breath is steady while mine staggers in my chest. I glance toward the hallway again, half expecting small footsteps. No one comes, which somehow makes the room feel colder. Extreme is asking me to risk another pregnancy I cannot handle. I hold his stare because looking away would feel like surrender. I asked you to consider a vasectomy and you laughed. He snorts quick like that word disgusts him. I told you I am not letting anyone cut into me. He gestures downward with a sharp little jerk of his chin. I work, I support this household, I need everything functioning. Hearing him say that out loud knocks the air from my lungs. So my organs are fair game, but yours are sacred. The question hangs there, heavier than anything else tonight. He opens his mouth, closes it, then switches tactics instead. You recover from pregnancy, you always bounce back strong. He smiles again like that is some kind of compliment. That line hits harder than anything, honestly. He is praising my resilience while planning to use it again. Every time I recover, it costs me months of my life. My voice shakes and I do not bother to hide it now. I am the one puking and dizzy and sliced open if it goes wrong. He turns away for the first time and grips the counter edge. I just want our family to grow while we still can. His shoulders rise and fall once, controlled like he practiced this too. Lots of couples would kill for what we have going on. He throws that at me like I am ungrateful for wanting boundaries. I move closer until I am right beside him at the counter. Wanting more kids is not the problem here, sneaking is. I tap the receipt again, then the cardboard between my knuckles. If you want another baby, use your words, not sabotage. Calling it sabotage out loud makes his head snap toward me. He narrows his eyes and his voice goes very quiet. You are accusing me of trapping you with your own children. The way he emphasizes your own children twists my stomach. You know how messed up that sounds, right? He waits, daring me to back down, and I feel the trap closing. I swallow hard because this is the actual line in the sand. I am saying I do not trust you with contraception anymore. The silence after that is thick and ugly and very loud. If you will not protect us, I will. Even as I say it, I know everything just changed. His laugh this time is short and bitter and nothing like before. And how are you planning to do that exactly? He looks me up and down like he already knows the answer. You are not going to close the bedroom forever, come on. He smirks as if my limits are just a temporary tantrum. Something inside me cools instead of explodes, which surprises me. I am not sleeping with you without something I control myself. I keep my tone level almost flat because I mean it. No more trusting you to handle anything that can get me pregnant. I hear my own words and feel this strange, fierce clarity. He shoves his hands into his pockets and rocks on his heels. So what, you are punishing me now, that it? His eyes are sharp, not hurt, more annoyed than anything. Over one stupid box and some paranoid math in your head. He spits the word paranoid like it proves his whole case. I pick up the receipt and the cardboard and fold them together. This is not about one box, this is a pattern I finally see. My fingers press the paper until my nails dig in. You made sure every chance of avoiding pregnancy depended on me alone. I look him straight in the face so he cannot dodge it. His mouth opens, then closes again without a reply. For a brief second, something like guilt flickers and vanishes. If you are so unhappy, maybe you should figure yourself out. He grabs his bowl and carries it to the sink with stiff movements. He leaves the room without another word, which somehow says the most. I stand there with the folded paper biting into my palm. My heart is racing, but underneath is something steadier. This is the moment, looking back, where the story tilts for good. Not because he stormed out, he always cooled off eventually. Because for the first time I believed myself more than I believed him. I lower my voice and spell my last name into the phone. The woman on the other end asks what I want to discuss. Permanent birth control, I answer, and my hand actually trembles. In the hallway, I hear the front door open and close. I can come in any time this week, I add, heart pounding. We pick a morning and she reads it back to confirm. I nod even though she cannot see me, breathing way too fast. When I hang up, the room feels smaller than it did before. Footsteps cross the living room and move toward the bedroom door. I shove my phone under a pillow like a teenager caught sneaking out. He leans against the doorframe and studies my face for a beat. Who were you whispering to just now? I reach for the laundry basket so I have something in my hands. Clinic, I answer, keeping my tone neutral, not too light. Scheduling a checkup, I add, and hope my eyes do not give away more. He shrugs and wanders toward the kitchen, already unlocking his phone. Just like that, the moment passes on his side completely. On my side, it sticks around, buzzing under my skin. This is the first big thing I have done without telling him. That secret feels both terrifying and weirdly stabilizing. 2 days later, I sit in the waiting area by myself. My fingers keep twisting the strap of my bag on a loop. Other women scroll or chat quietly while I rehearse lines in my head. If you have ever prepared to blow up your own status quo, you get it. I keep thinking I might stand up and walk out before they call me. Emily. The nurse appears and smiles, and I force my legs to move. She takes my weight, my blood pressure, all the boring routine pieces. Then she leads me to an exam room and closes the door gently. Doctor will be in shortly, she says, and leaves me alone with my thoughts. When the doctor comes in, recognition flashes in her eyes. We met at your earlier pregnancy visit, she reminds me calmly. I nod and explain this one is just me, no partner today. Okay, she says, pulling up a stool, what are you hoping for? That question almost cracks something open inside my chest. I want this to be the final pregnancy, I say, steady now. I tell her I am not comfortable leaving future control in someone else's hands. I mention the missing condoms and how my partner refuses any procedure. Her mouth tightens slightly at the edges while she listens. She does not interrupt, which makes it harder and easier at the same time. Has he ever pressured you about getting pregnant? She asks carefully. The word pressured makes my throat close for a second. He jokes and then he gets rid of anything that prevents it, I answer. Saying that out loud makes my own story sound harsher than in my head. She nods slowly, like she has heard things like this before. Your health matters on its own, not only as a mother, she says. She explains options again, but this time she lingers on the ones for me. Tubal procedure during delivery or later, or a long-term device instead. She reminds me that any surgery carries risk, even if it is common. Then she adds that no one else gets to sign for my body. I stare at the consent form when she lays it on the counter. If I sign, I am locking in a future that does not include more pregnancies. If I do not sign, I am leaving room for his games to continue. My pen hovers there while my mind runs through every sleepless night. I think about that line he loves, about my body being my responsibility. I pick up the pen and write my name with a shaky flourish. My signature looks almost unfamiliar, like it belongs to someone braver. All right, she murmurs, tucking the form into a folder. We can add the procedure to your delivery plan, she explains briefly. Do you have support at home for recovery? She adds, watching my face. I laugh once, short and dry, before I can stop it. I have help for the kids, I answer, dodging the real part. For myself, I am not so sure, and we both know it. There's a counselor on staff if you ever want to talk more, she offers. I nod, but I am already thinking about the next bat. Waiting at home. That night he slides into bed and curls around me from behind. His hand moves over my stomach like it always does lately. Want to help me relax before we crash, he murmurs near my ear. It is not a question about me, not really, more a habit. For once I do not freeze, I just take his hand and lift it away. Not anymore, not without real protection I control, I tell him. He goes still, then props himself up on one elbow to look at me. We already went round and round on this, remember, he says. He sounds tired but not worried, like he still expects me to fold. I meet his eyes and feel that same new steadiness from the clinic. I signed for surgery today. The words land between us like something heavy and sharp. His expression shifts from confusion to fury in an instant. You did what? He asks, voice dropping like he misheard. I repeat it slower so there is no room left for misunderstanding. You made a permanent decision about both of us alone. His breath comes faster and his hands ball up near his chest. Do you even hear how selfish that is? He adds, almost incredulous. That is my future children you just erased without asking. The way he says my future children hits hard and ugly. I am the one pregnant right now, I remind him, pulse racing. I am the one recovering every single time, not you. I sit up and swing my legs over the side of the bed. You refuse to share the risk, so I am taking it off the table. My voice shakes, but the words do not soften. He sits up too, sheets tangled around his waist, eyes flashing. You are punishing me for wanting a big family, he snaps. You are punishing our kids, they will never have more siblings now. He throws every guilt line he can reach in one breath. I feel them hit, but they do not knock me over this time. I am protecting the children already here from burnt-out parents. I turn toward him and plant my feet on the carpet. I am protecting myself from another forced accident. Using that word forced makes him flinch like I slapped him. Nobody forced anything, you agreed every time, he fires back quickly. Did I agree when you tossed the only safeguards we had? I stare him down, not blinking, letting the silence stretch. Did I agree when you joked about my forgetfulness and used it? He looks away first, jaw grinding, hands pressed into the mattress. That tiny break gives me more courage than any pep talk could. If you undo my decision, we are done, I tell him quietly. He snaps his gaze back, stunned like I mentioned something obscene. You are threatening to blow up this marriage over an operation. He laughs once harsh, then shakes his head like I am ridiculous. Listen to yourself, you sound out of control right now. No, I am finally in control and you hate it, I answer. I stand up and pick my phone off the nightstand. If you cancel my procedure, if you sabotage anything again, I leave. The word leave comes out calm, not dramatic, which scares even me. I will talk to a lawyer and figure out the rest. He stares at me like he does not recognize the person talking. You would really take my kids away over this, he whispers. There is fear in his eyes for the first time, not just annoyance. I am not taking them, I am taking myself somewhere safe, I reply. If you want to stay in our lives, stop treating my body like a resource. The room feels different after that, like the air shifted somehow. He sinks back against the headboard and rubs his face hard. For once he does not have a comeback ready on his tongue. I need time to think, he mutters finally, staring at nothing. I nod because for the first time, his thinking does not control my next move. That was months ago, and I am writing this with my feet up. The procedure is on the books, and he knows I will be awake for every step. He has not booked anything for himself, but he has not blocked mine either. We sleep with space between us now, a whole pillow down the middle. That distance hurts, but not as much as losing myself did. Maybe the marriage survives, maybe it cracks all the way, I honestly do not know. What I do know is that the sentence he loved finally snapped in half. He wanted my body to be my responsibility so he could keep his hands clean. Fine, my body really is my responsibility now and I am acting like it. If he cannot handle that, then he is the one who needs to adjust or step aside.